Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Work in Progress Wednesday, we're going to add 2 new generation superstars to the list. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said incorrectly, I said we're going to add these guys to the list. We're not adding them to the list. We're adding them to the shelf. We are crossing them off the list. We have Savio Vega as well as Aldo Montoya today. And the historical impact of these two, even though Savio Vega's run in WWE wasn't super long, is vastly different. Aldo Montoya was just incredible, and it was before he went to ECW. And I don't even know what I feel like his prominence in ECW was still a bit after he portrayed this. I don't know the exact history of Just Incredible. My brother met him once when he was working at Arby's. Just Incredible and Prince Albert went through the drive-thru, and he met both of them. There's my mini claim to fame with Just Incredible. Anyway, we're making Aldo Montoya today, so it was a weird gimmick. I think his nickname was the Portuguese Man of War. It was just one of those weird new generation gimmicks they tried and failed to push or get over. It was a weird time in WWE. But looking back on the characters, like the colorfulness and just the like cheesiness, I've come to appreciate a lot. As a kid, I thought they were all cool because they just look cool. Anyway, we've got 2 head sculpts here from Tom Veg, and the other one here is obviously Savio Vega, who was one of my favorites as a kid. I don't know, I just thought he was really cool. With Aldo Montoya, obviously we've got Shawn Michaels legs, some Macho Man lowers, and then Hulk Hogan boots. Some of the reference pictures I looked up, he wore kick pads, and sometimes he wore boots as well. And since I have these yellow boots in my collection, I want to just go ahead and use them. So he's got Ultimate Edition articulated feet, so lucky him. He also wore yellow like wrist gauntlets, but for that I'm going to use the Hulk Hogan, some extra wristbands I have from him. So I wanted to use those parts where I could. I think the head sculpt looks pretty good. Obviously I've already painted the eyes. Gonna have to paint around the head. Like, this mask is yellow and everything, but it's one I'm very excited to make. And then Savio Vega here, you can see, very excited about this. This is a Bray Wyatt torso. You can see on the neck there. I do need to sand that down. Forgot to do that. But then the legs are the Shane McMahon, like sweatpants modes, or Mick Foley. And then I put on some wrestling boots for the feet, instead of the like normal tennis shoes. And then the decals, obviously, so you can see this red does not match the red torso. So what I'm gonna do is just cut it really close to the actual design. That way I don't really have to do any blending. I'm just gonna like do each of these stripes one by one, cut out as much red as I can. These are the only decals for Aldo Montoya. He's got kind of a cool design on his pants so that the flag pops out when you look at it. But other than that, that's all we've got to get to. Mostly prepping, not a lot of painting on Savio. Got to paint the neck there, the heads, but very excited to add these guys to the collection. I think they're going to look great in the new gen section, so let's get to it. Alrighty, so Aldo Montoya here, I already painted all the skin tone and everything, so just going to get the yellow on the mask. And yellow, regardless of what brand I've used, has never covered great, so gonna have to do a few layers of that, but that's why I painted the skin tone first. That way I don't have to go in and try and paint that afterwards. So with the hair, just using the plain black on that, and I mix a little bit of brown in there, but this is a sculpt I'm excited to get to. We've got the Savio Vega, so gonna just kind of do the top part in just the normal black, and then we'll do a little bit of a fade on the side, or just kind of like that buzz look, not necessarily a fade. So with that, I just dry brush a little bit. Like I try to get the outline, then I try to do the dry brush, and then we'll come in like do the small, like I'll use the real tiny brushes for his facial hair. With the tights here, I used one of my ink pens to draw the outline, and then I'm just gonna fill it in. It took me forever to kind of figure out exactly how those lines looked, but once I did, it seemed pretty simple. I can't believe it took me as long as it did, but this green is my Vallejo green, and it covers really well. Like I'll never stop talking about how happy I am that I switched. I know, like I said, I told you guys I used Apple Barrel for a long time, and it wasn't bad at all, but it took a lot more time. It took a lot more layers. It wasn't as nice. So it's been a welcome switch. So like I said, the yellow doesn't cover great. So I'm gonna do the white over first, and then I'll put some yellow on. I'll put a few layers on, and then I'll just continue to touch it up as I need to. The Savio Vega, I decided not to use the decals. It just didn't fit how I liked it. So just drew where all the lines should be, and then colors were real easy. So it wasn't even like perfect sizing and everything. So it didn't have to be super precise, but I want to make sure I paint inside the lines I drew, use the right colors and everything. So I get it to how I would like it instead. Then I do have to paint. He kind of has like some black straps on his shoulders, so just filling that in, and then we're going to wrap things up here with the decal on the back. Oh, and Aldo Montoya. Forgot I got to get his decals in there. These are done, and I honestly just dreaded these for so long. I talk about how sometimes I just have stuff that sits on my shelf for a long time, and it could just be one small thing that keeps me from hopping in, working on the custom. And with the Aldo Montoya, the thing I just was not sure about was how exactly his tights were, how the lines and everything worked on the colors. Just the flag where it's inverse on each side messed with me, and I could not figure out exactly how it cut, and that kept me from doing this for a long time. But I'm so happy with how it turned out. The green and the red on both sides turned out really clean. I did do some light layers of red over the already red tights, just so that they covered up any different spots. I had to paint red on some other part, on the calves and everything, so the red all kind of goes together. The green went on very smooth and it covered well, so I didn't have to do a ton. The yellow on the tights, I'd had to do a little bit more, and I did realize that once I was finishing up that there's a belt decal, just he has a belt, a black waist, a black belt, and I couldn't find that decal, so it's in, I have a big bag of extra decals. I'll have to find it, but I wanted to just finish this up. Once I post pictures on Instagram, I'll have his belt, I'll have that touched up and everything. But with Savio Vega, I started to go through, and the torso and the decal just weren't going to line up perfectly, and instead of me just trying to maneuver and get the decals to work, I just went ahead and painted it, and I'm happy with how it turned out. The I mean, it was just straight lines, and it didn't even need to be perfectly straight, but I'm really happy with how it turned out and how the colors look with everything. I do really like these head sculpts. Sometimes you don't know what a head sculpt is going to look like real well until you do finally get it painted up, and I think that both of these look fantastic. I'm not going to mistake them for anyone else. Obviously, Aldo Montoya, you don't see a lot of people wearing a big yellow jog strap on their head with their afro hair pointing out, but I'm ecstatic with how these came out, and I'm excited to get them on the new generation shelf. I don't think I've done a new generation showcase, but I'd like to get some more of these characters in there before I go and look at it, because there's just some interesting people that we can make from that time period. But like I said, if you want to see some pictures of these once I get them posted to Instagram, just head on over there. Follow me if you're not already. You want to talk about some figures, go ahead and shoot me a message, comment here, whatever. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it very much. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.